Hello and welcome to today's March 29th Daily News Report. If you're a subscribed member of my community, then welcome back. You watch this channel each day because I keep you in the loop on what's really going on in Washington, D.C. with President Biden and the U.S. economy, so let's jump right in. President Biden has recently been under fire from both the left and the right. I reported on a story recently covered by CNN where they said his recent unscripted words about President Putin being disqualified from power due to his recent terrible actions put an already jittery world on edge again. When a reporter asked him, Biden, if he thought these words could escalate tension, Biden immediately responded with, "I don't care what he thinks." Biden went on to say that Putin will do whatever Putin wants to do, and he doesn't care about what anyone has to say, including his own advisors. He ended the thought alluding to the fact that he might be open to meeting with Putin if it was about ending the war in Ukraine. Speaking of Ukraine, it appears a glimmer of hope has arrived. This morning, a Russian official stated that Moscow would reduce military action in areas around the capital Kyiv and also northern Ukraine. This news comes after a month of brutal combat between the two nations, who have appeared to finally find some common ground and are both willing to negotiate. These negotiations are going to take place in Turkey, where the president of Turkey actually argued that there should be an immediate ceasefire in the interest of both countries. In fact, I would say in the interest of the entire world. So Turkey is going to facilitate as the third party host. Now, if Russia is serious, this would be huge for Ukraine, as they have been targeted both physically and now they're under intense cyber attacks. Remember, I told you Russia is famous for hacking. Yesterday, Ukraine announced that Russia attacked the internet provider that they use for their military communications and operations. This was mainly to degrade Ukraine's defense abilities. Ukraine's military intelligence chief has warned that total guerrilla warfare is the next phase of the war if things continue. While the Russian economy has been devastated due to initial sanctions, Russian cargo ships have now been spotted going dark. The act of going dark is when big ships turn off their identification system so that they can't be tracked while exchanging goods illegally. At least 33 commercial vessels in Russia's economic zone have gone dark here in just the last few days. In fact, it's at twice the rate it's been since the war began. Now, it's not clear exactly which large corporations are engaging in illegal activities with Russia, but you can see how a black market or something would establish itself, kind of like prohibition here in the United States when they made alcohol illegal. These people still want to trade. Now, these could be American companies still trading. It could be European countries. Nobody really knows, but a lot of people are dependent on Russia, and so a black market has sprung up in the absence of legal activities. As President Biden battles the media to keep his image pure, a new Harvard Caps Harris poll has been released regarding the 2024 presidential election. If the if the election was held today, the poll shows that Donald Trump would obtain 47% of the votes, while Biden would get 41% of the support. However, 12% of the country says we're not decided on who we want to be president in 2024. Now, this isn't to say that it will be Trump or that Trump would immediately win. This is just a snapshot of what people are feeling today based on the current situation. Now, just this morning, CBS reported that they obtained documents showing that during the period of the Capitol incident on January 6th, there appears to be a gap of over 7 hours in President Trump's phone logs. Now, immediately they went to saying, was he using a burner phone or communicating through back channels? This is kind of the same stuff we saw with Russia, the Russia hoax story. And I don't really know what the answer is. Now, this gave birth to an explosion of negative stories and speculation I'm just trying to stay neutral. I don't know what happened, and I don't know what happened. I'm just reporting what's in the news. Now, this news came after Representative AOC called for the resignation of Supreme Court Justice Clarence Thomas. The first backlash against Justice Thomas started when it was discovered that his wife had communicated with Mark Meadows, Trump's chief of staff, saying that she believed that there was election fraud and that it should be investigated. Now, she didn't call for stopping the election or anything that happened on January 6th, but because of this, now AOC is saying this Supreme Court justice should be impeached. This is all new information that's coming out, and you'll have to make up your own decision on what you think it really means. There is also those that believe Trump should be investigated on whether there was criminal activity, meaning an actual coup to overtake the government, or if it was just him pushing back on election results. There's a huge difference between the two, and some are saying maybe we should investigate that. Now, while Washington is going haywire, it appears the U.S. economy is as well. Economist Peter Schiff has commented recently that the high gas prices are largely due to an underlying problem of inflation. He posted on Twitter today that he believes people aren't buying gold due to the war in Russia, but also a main contributor is they're losing faith in the American dollar. And so that there's not transactions happening all over the world, and so it's weakening the dollar. And unfortunately, because our main currency is the US dollar, he says that is also affecting inflation. And it appears the American people agree with him. A new Harvard Caps Harris poll showed that out of 3 issues that plague the American people, inflation is still the number 1 issue that is affecting Americans' wallets. And then the next 2 were jobs and immigration and immigration changes. Now, that could be the crisis at the border, or how many immigrants are coming into the country, or taking immigrants that are already here and making them citizens faster. A new poll by the Trafalgar Group asked what the president should do if the price of gas goes over $8 a gallon at any location in the United States. 58% of respondents said he should step down if gas goes over $8 a gallon and let someone with more business sense take over the country. Now, this is interesting because the survey then goes a little bit deeper, and a large majority of Democrats said that they are fine with these high gas prices because they don't blame Joe Biden. While 82% of Republicans and 67% of independents say President Biden and his policies have played a role in the high gas prices, and that if it hits $8 a gallon, he should absolutely step down and let someone else take over. Now, you may or may not know this, but Republicans and Democrats don't decide the fate of the country or pick our leaders. It is the independents that pick the president or leaders by swinging from one party to the other, depending on who they think will do a better job. And right now, it's obvious that independents are not loving high gas prices. Nancy Pelosi said there is no chance she and the Democrats will lose the House of Representatives in November. In fact, she said, mark my words, we are going to pick up 10 to 15 additional House seats and have an even bigger majority, which is necessary because it's Republicans that are ruining the country. So the Republicans who have the minority seat, they're the ones ruining the country. And she's predicting that Democrats are going to take over the government even more. So I guess we'll see if she's right or wrong in November. President Biden is asking Congress for another $12 billion to help illegal immigrants coming across the southern border to have better representation, to get a job, and to buy a home here in America. You guys, I can't make this stuff up. They are literally helping illegal immigrants live the American dream while giving very little help to tax-paying American citizens. I mean, it's crazy. that it seems like everyone but Americans are getting help and money, except the very people that pay the tax money they use. I mean, the corruption in our government is crazy, and it's on both sides. It's just absolutely insane to me. Anyway, I'm sorry. I got off on a rant there. Okay, speaking of American home buying, many people cannot afford to buy a home here in America. Some of that is supply and demand. A lot of that is Wall Street and wealthy investors being afraid of new policies coming, and so they're snatching up real estate at an alarming rate. After 4 straight months of deceleration in the home sales, you would think that the price of homes would go down. Unfortunately, a lot of home buyers are seeing the price go up because supply is coming down. And now they're saying that there may be a supply issue when it comes to food shortages because of the war in Russia and Ukraine. Now, I looked into this, and did you know that 29% of all the global wheat sales come from Russia and Ukraine? Almost 1/3 of all of the grain in the world comes from 2 countries. Now, I'm not sure why the American government is issuing warnings about food shortages while at the same time not saying, hey, we're going to ramp it up and we're going to help farmers here at home to produce more food. I mean, maybe that $12 billion that they want to give to illegal immigrants should just go to feeding American citizens. But what do I know? I'm just a guy on the internet. Now, I'm not sure why we're going through all of this, right? We have so much land and farmers here in the United States, but they're just not getting the support that they need. All right, now some crazy COVID money news. It appears that there was an exponential amount of fraud with the PPP program. Experts say that about 10% or $80 billion went towards fraudulent distribution. And most of that distribution went to buying luxury homes, luxury cars, luxury vacations, and eating out. So while you and I were wondering how we're going to pay the bills, put food on the table, these fraudsters were sucking up millions and billions of dollars in order to buy cool stuff. Isn't that sad? Matthew Schneider, a former U.S. attorney, has said that this is the biggest fraud in a generation. The process in which they broke the law was simple. They simply made up how many employees they had, what their salary was, and then collected the money, and the U.S. government never checked. They just never checked. But now they're checking, and people are getting in trouble and going to jail. But $80 billion, just to give you an idea of how big that is, 25 million Americans could have had 3 additional $1,000 stimulus checks. But because of these thieves and these fraudsters, that money's just gone, right? Isn't that sad? All right, the FDA announced that people over the age of 50 are now eligible to get their second COVID booster if they want. And they say that this time it will prevent a spike in infection and that it will keep you from getting COVID. This is according to the news. Now, this is my update for today. As I know more, I will definitely come on and share more with you. The 200 winner giveaway is ending soon, so make sure to get your name entered to be one of the winners of cash, a hat, a shirt, or a hoodie. We're excited to give that away. Now, before you go, I just want to remind you that you are amazing. I appreciate you being in my community, and I'll see you on the next video.